All right, it's that time of the week again. Time to see if we can turn our knowledge into cash with the Week 13 Best Bets. I'm involved in 3 games in this Week 13, all 3 in the 1 o'clock hour, the first wave of games, so it's going to be an anxious 3 hours for me. Let's get right to them now, shall we? Starting in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers will host the New Orleans Saints. Pittsburgh now a 4-point favorite on BETDAQ. They were a 5-point favorite early in the week, but this line has moved in the New Orleans direction, and I do like the Saints side of things here. I believe it's a good buy low time with the New Orleans Saints. I think a lot of people have just given up on the Saints after they lost 3 consecutive home games. But you look at those losses a little closer. Not only did all 3 come against winning teams, but 2 of those losses, last week against Baltimore and 3 weeks ago against San Francisco, were very competitive one-score affairs. So I don't think the Saints are a team that's come unraveled by any means. Still second in the NFL in total offense. They're facing a vulnerable Pittsburgh defense this week. The Steelers 20th in points allowed, bottom half of the NFL in passing defense. I do think New Orleans is going to have a lot of success offensively in this game. Obviously, the New Orleans defense against the Pittsburgh offense is a concern, and I do think this is going to be a high-scoring, competitive game. I just think 4 points, too many. Really thought 5 points was too many, but even with the line at 4, New Orleans has an excellent chance to win this game outright. If not, I think they'll probably keep it really close. I like the 4 points on my side. Pittsburgh, remember, has by no means been dominant here in recent weeks. In their last game, they squeaked by the Tennessee Titans. Game before that, they lost to the New York Jets. So I think these teams more evenly matched than their records would indicate. I am on the New Orleans side here, like the Saints +4. Next game I'd like to talk about, the Buffalo Bills at home, a 3.5-point favorite over the Cleveland Browns, and I like the Bills here. Listen, I'm a little concerned about the 3.5-point number because I think this is going to be a close, low-scoring game. Feel a lot better about it if the number were 1 or 2, but upon further examination, tough for me to get away from Buffalo in this spot. They must have this game. Their schedule gets really tough after this week. They currently sit at 6-5, so still right in the mix in the AFC playoff race. Cleveland's in the mix, of course, as well, but the Browns haven't been real impressive over the last couple of weeks. Nearly lost to the Atlanta Falcons last Sunday. The week before that, they were dominated by the Houston Texans. Don't have much faith in the Cleveland offense against this excellent Buffalo defense. The Bills, 5th in total defense, 4th in points allowed. Cleveland has only scored 30 points 1 time this season. So I think the Bills are going to have a lot of success against Brian Hoyer and the Browns. Now on the other side of the ball, the Browns are top 10 in points allowed, but they really struggle against the run. 29th in rushing defense. Fred Jackson back healthy for Buffalo now. I think they're going to get their running game going again here this week. The Bills have really turned into a pass-first offense over the past few weeks out of necessity after they lost both C.J. Spiller and Fred Jackson. But Jackson healthy again just in time for this soft Cleveland run defense. I think he's going to have a lot of success, and I think the Bills are going to score enough to beat the Browns and cover the 3.5-point number. Final game I'm on here in this Week 13, the San Diego Chargers on the road in Baltimore. Baltimore a 6.5-point favorite, and I like the visiting Chargers here. I realize the Ravens have been excellent on both sides of the ball this season. They rank 6th in both points scored and points allowed. But their offense has been mediocre, or had been until they broke out against New Orleans last week. They had scored 24 points or fewer in 3 consecutive games prior to that. And the San Diego defense is just better than people realize. A lot of people, I think, were thrown off by the Chargers' 2-game stretch back in Week 8 and Week 9 when they faced Denver and Miami and surrendered 72 combined points in those games. After Week 9, I heard a lot of people talking about this Chargers defense like it was a weakness, an impediment to winning, when in fact the Chargers defense, the strength of their team, even after those 2 disastrous performances, they still rank 9th in total defense, 7th in points allowed. They've gotten it back together these past couple of weeks, stringing together a couple of wins. Both these teams currently sit at 7-4, so crucial game in Baltimore here. And the Ravens could win this game. They're excellent at home, but 6.5 points feels like too many to me, especially since the Baltimore defense struggles against the pass, 29th in passing defense. We know San Diego, a pass-first offense. I know Phillip Rivers hasn't been quite as good in recent weeks as he was in the beginning of the year. Have a feeling he might get back on track in this matchup against this vulnerable Ravens secondary. And like we said, the Baltimore offense, not explosive. And the Chargers defense, I believe, is underrated. So I think San Diego plus 6.5, a good-looking play there. There you have it. Those are my 3 games in this Week 13. I like New Orleans +4 against Pittsburgh, Buffalo -3.5 against Cleveland, and San Diego +6.5 against the Baltimore Ravens. I wish you best of luck in whatever you decide to do in this Week 13, just so long as your interests don't conflict with my interests.